again. You are listening to Arthie, more compassionate leader of influence. I'm your host today, and you're listening to episode 13 in the People Lane. It is season 3, and what's exciting is that I'm talking into all of the different episodes that I've done, and I'm giving you little snippets and exciting parts and stories that I wanted to talk into a long time ago, but just never had the time. But I'm back with you. And I was talking into how we lift the lid in our potential and how we can be better servant leaders. And I was just saying that it makes sense that we realize that self care is an imperative and self reflection is important because it allows us to give and give more meaningfully continuously without getting to the point where we feel resentful of that giving. You see, to serve unconditionally, to love unconditionally, to give unconditionally, you need to have certain boundaries in place that prevents people from taking advantage of your good nature. Because people will do that if you're the type of person who enjoys serving and giving and is really thoughtful. Unfortunately, you do have people who will do that. But I just wanted to let you know that you are listening to episode 13. We're in season 3 in the People Lane, and this is my season finale on people for pre startups on IBGR.network. Now, IBGR is our call sign as a radio station, but we're more than a radio station, we're a network. And you can listen live at IBGR.network 24/7, where it is your place for resources, support, and answers to all of your business questions at all stages of business growth. Now, whether you're starting, growing, or exiting your business, you'll find it all at ibgr.network on our website, and you can visit there and download our show notes. Now, before we ran away onto our break, I was talking into servant leadership. And the episode that I spoke into after that was fair compensation is an imperative. And what was important about that is I believe that in order to change the dynamics within any industry right now, we needed to address the first human need that is prevalent in the minds of any employee, business transaction, joint venture, or relationship, and that was money. So, how do we truly meaningfully adjust this? Who's responsible, and how do we bring in the funds needed for these compensation needs of the masses? And I was spoken to the simplicity of adjusting the business strategy. And some of the points, and I know just talking to some of those very quickly, I spoke about the implementation of skills development, soft skills, solution focused strategy plans, African principles of leadership, and so much more. I spoke about challenging mindsets and creating a fair exchange where compensation meets upgraded, upskilled, self motivated individuals who earned the right to receive the compensation they deserve. I also spoke into accountability, responsibility, and performance related plans. I then talked about creating systems that truly gauge performance based on outputs, innovative thinking, and results. I also thought that one of the most imperative areas or points that needed to be addressed in this show was gender neutral payment structures that talked into skills, experience, qualifications, and expectations met. Now, I know that that might actually piss off a lot of people, but hey, we need to address gender equality and the pay structures for many people. But I strongly believe that pay structures should be based on skills, experience, and also the ability for people to grow meaningfully. So you don't just adjust it just based on the gender of a person. You base it on performance, on who the person is, and on their talent, and you give them the skills and the tools to upgrade their ability to earn more. That so when you're talking about compensation, it should always be fairly compensated. You should always be thoughtful in how you do that, and it works both ways. And the next episode after that, I spoke about the art of delegation in developing competence. Now, I was spoken to the 5 dysfunctions again, but I looked at how effective delegation changes our leadership perspective from managing tasks and processes to coaching employees to succeed in their roles. It engages them as responsible partners in tasks, projects, and objectives rather than simply as pieces of human machinery in business. Now, this meant that we had to reflect very strongly on our ability to lead effectively. And so when you looked at some of the owner perspectives, they said that delegation with current position, how does it allow for autonomy? Delegating next level tasks as a reward and training for promotion. What did that mean for them in the business? And then shifting jobs and making people a boss for the day. I thought that was a huge one. That was very, very different. And now what I want you to do is leave the juiciest, most funnest, exciting one for last, because my last episode, and this was last week, by the way, I spoke into my favorite topic, which is a book that I have been writing for the last few years based on personal experience from the last 23 years of being an entrepreneur and business owner. Now, having worked with boards of directors and management teams globally, working with Fortune 500 companies, mining industries, medical industries, working with schools, universities, orphanages, working in squatter camps, philanthropy projects all around the world, I've realized that the value of compassion is the one that is most needed right now more than ever. And I spoke into how compassion is the key ingredient needed to help others grow. It's the intrinsic part of our ability to connect at a deep level with every person we connect with. I spoke into the fact that as a compassionate person, you choose to see the good in everyone. By practicing compassion, you're able to use your intuition to support others to achieve their goals, their dreams, and purpose in life. Now, I spoke into so many different areas of what a compassionate person is. And I think it might be an idea for me to share some of that with you right now as well. Well, a compassionate person in my mind is somebody who comprehends, connects, and understands and accepts people for who they are and where they're at in their journey. They then entice them to grow to the next levels of excellence in their personal and business lives. They do this by adding value in every way to guide, support, and share expertise and experiences to help that person in a meaningful way. Now, I know that was a mouthful yet again, and yes, 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 I am loving this because this is my favorite thing to talk about. So I'm going to talk into what compassionate people do. They live a life of intention. They intentionally seek to use integrity in every aspect of their own lives in order to stay true and respectful to themselves first. This allows them to aspire and inspire and impact others by standing up for their values, principles, and beliefs. You see, I think that as a compassionate person of influence, people will want to know that your words and actions always match. You cannot go through life saying that you're an amazing leader by title. You cannot just keep talking about it. You've got to show it. You've got to embody it. It is something that resonates with who you are. And when you see the type of people that are around you, you realize that the impact that you have and the influence you have is directly related to the energy you exude. Now, are you a thoughtful, kind, generous, gentle person? Are you respectful in every aspect of your interactions with people? Do you honor the diversity of people? Do you realize that regardless of somebody's ability or disability, people with disabilities deserve respect as much as any other person? Different sexual orientations, people who are seen as LGBTQI in terms of the in terms of where they see themselves at in their lives and their choices, deserve to be respected and honored as human beings because they deserve a place on this earth as much as anybody else. You see, this is what makes people unique as human beings. I feel that we have missed the point somewhere along the line, that we have dumbed down the way we see human beings and we expect perfection from everybody. And I believe that a compassionate leader of influence will respect and honor men, women, and children. That we realize that not all men are abusers and not all women are abused. And when we can see that, we realize that the gender inequality can be realigned when men and women collaborate for each other's success by sharing their knowledge, wisdom, and expertise with each other. They share their strength, they share their strategy, they share their intuition, their innovation, their different ways of thinking, the ability to multitask. They support each other with the sole purpose and intention to help the other person succeed. And we don't dumb it down to because you're a man or a woman, you are any less. And because we stand up for these areas, even within our business, we start to stand up with respect and with intention to showcase our values in our everyday and daily interactions. So, a compassion leader of influence doesn't just say that I want to inspire people because and improve people for the bottom line. No, you want to help people, whether are men or women, with regardless of their generational gap, regardless of their age, their religion, their tradition, regardless of their culture. We and understand that every human being that walks this earth deserves to walk this earth with respect, and we honor them in that way. So caring for people without judgment is sometimes a difficult thing to do. But understand this. We have choice. And with choice, we can show compassion as a person because that doesn't mean that you've got to accept the way people treat you. I'm saying it merely means that you do not allow their actions to define how you behave towards someone in response. And so for my finale, I want to say to you, you don't always have to like every person you interact with, but your ability to show respect and be respectful is a direct reflection on your character and dignity as a human being. I'm your host, Arthie Moore. This was my season finale. And with that, I wish you the most incredible, fantastic, powerful 2021. Lots of love from my side. Bye bye.